Good morning children, welcome back to our video lecture. Today we are going to continue with the fourth part of our geography lesson, that is tides. I hope till now whatever we have studied in this lesson tides is very much clear to you all, and today you are ready to continue with the same lesson with the new points to be covered. So let's get ready and move towards the next part of the lesson. Now children, today we are going to study about the structure of the waves. Now what are the structure of the waves or how the waves are formed? We are going to study about it in detail. So let's see. The sea water gets pushed up and down because of the wind. As you all know, the sea water is getting pushed up and down because of the wind. The raised up portion of the wave is called crest and the depressed one is called trough. So thus the raised up, the portion which has raised up, you can see here, this is the raised up portion, this is called crest, and the down portion, the portion which has gone inside, that is called as trough. Okay, so let's see. The raised up portion of the wave is called crest and the depressed one is called trough. If a strong wind is blowing in one direction, large waves are generated. See, sometimes the weather forecast people, they tell us that today in the sea there are going to be huge tides which are going to occur. Now how do they come to know about this? See, when they are studying about the weather forecast, they are able to understand that today the wind is going to blow very hard or it is going to have lots of force. So because of which they can realize or they come to know that because of the blowing of the wind very hard, the water is going to rise up to certain level, and because of which they are giving the approximate calculation or they are giving the approximate idea that up to certain centimeter the waves are going to rise up. You must have heard sometimes, even you know about the tsunami which has occurred. So there also what had happened, the waves had rised up to a certain level, and because of which all the water had come on the land or near the coastal area. Okay, so what they had given here, if a strong wind is blowing in one direction, large waves are generated. So if the wind is very strong or it is very hard and if it is blowing in one direction, it is forcing the water to rise up to certain level. The vertical distance between a crest and the following trough is called an amplitude of the wave, whereas the distance between two successive crests or trough is called wavelength. Okay, so what is given here? Let's see once again. The vertical distance, now you can see here they had given this picture. Okay, now the crest, that is the water is rising up, going down, again rising up, again going down, again rising up, going down. Okay, so this is a continuous formation which takes place and these are known as waves. Now what happened, the vertical distance between a crest and the following trough is called the amplitude. Now this distance between the crest and the trough, this distance between them, okay, this is called as this distance between them is called a amplitude of the wave. See here they had given, so rising falling, so this distance is called as a amplitude of the wave, whereas the distance between the two successive crests, two successive is one after another, okay, 1 2 3, so like that successive one after another, so the distance between these two successive crests is known as the wavelength. You all look at the picture and it will be very clear to you all. Wavelength, the distance between both of them, and the distance between up and down, the crest and the trough, is amplitude. Okay, clear? Yes. So this is to the wavelength, its amplitude and its velocity depend on the velocity of wind. So the wavelength, the distance between two crests, and the amplitude, the height of up and down, the fall and the rise and the fall. Okay, so that distance or that velocity is completely dependent on the wind. If there is strong wind blowing, the crest is very high and the fall is also down very deep, so it is high and deep. The water is moving very much up and down. But if the wind is not very hard, so that time it is moving in a normal way. Okay, the next we are going to study about the velocity of waves. Let's see what is velocity of waves. If we stand at the coast, we feel the waves are coming towards the coast. Now if you are standing, if you had been visited the seashore, and when you are standing near the seashore or when you are standing near the sea, what we feel, the waves are coming towards the coast, the waves are coming outside. If a floating object is thrown at a distance in the sea, we find the object moving up and down at the same place. But then, if you have ever tried this, if you throw any object, if you put anything, maybe any wooden log, or maybe sometimes when there is a coconut festival celebrated, people throw coconut in the water, or anything, any material which can float easily, if you throw that into the water, so you will see what happens to that thing which you had put into the water, the object which is thrown in the water. We find the object moving up and down. So on this water, what happened when the water comes up, that object is coming up, again it is going down, again it is coming up, it is going down, but then it is on its same place, it does not come in front. When we are on the seashore, we feel that the water is coming forward, but the object remains on its place and only it is going up and down on the water. It does not come to the coast. Okay, so it does not come to us, it does not come to the coast, it remains on its place only. It means the water forming the wave also does not come to the coast. Means what? The water which is forming the waves, that is also not coming to the coast, it is remaining there only. Okay, so the water is remaining there only it is going up and down, and because of which we feel that it is coming close to us. Understood? Remember that the water in the wave does not move. What moves is the energy. So what happened here? The water in the wave is not moving. What is moving? The movement is being done by the energy or the force which is applied on this water, that is looking like it is moving, and because of which we feel that the water is moving. The main reason of the wave generation is wind, but at times due to earthquake or volcanic eruption occurring below the floor of the sea, waves get generated. So usually what is the reason of the generation of the waves? It is wind. Okay, so as we had already studied, wind is the main cause for the generation of the wind. But sometimes what happen, below the earth's surface into the interior of the ocean, okay, or the ocean bed, sometimes there is a earthquake or there is a volcanic eruption. So these earthquake or the volcanic eruption which has occurred into the interior of the ocean below the floor of the sea, waves get generated, and because of them there are big waves which are coming on the seashore. As I had given you all the example of tsunami, so tsunami was also same thing. There was a earthquake which had occurred into the floor of the sea, into the interior of the sea, and as you all know, when the earthquake takes place, the land moves here and there. So because of the movement of the land, because of the earthquake, there were big tides or there were big waves which were generated, and thus the water came out on the seashore, and thus it has caused a lots of destruction. Okay, so whenever there is a earthquake or the volcanic eruption into the interior of the sea, that is in the sea floor of the sea, the water gets the waves get generated, it comes out on the shore, and most of the time it creates destruction of the property and the life of the people. Such waves assume a great height in the shallow water near the coast. So thus such waves are taking, or they are rising at a great height. These waves are very destructive, as I had already told you all. They are very destructive because they bring lots of water on the seashore near the coastal area, and thus the area gets flooded. They cause huge loss of property and life. Many people, their property, their houses, everything get destroyed, and even many people lose their life in this type of situation. These waves are called tsunamis. In 2004, tsunami waves were generated because of the earthquake that took place near Sumatra island of Indonesia. So in 2004 there was a tsunami waves which has occurred, and which generated because of the earthquake which happened or which occurred in the interior of the sea near the Sumatra island of Indonesia. They devastated the east coast of India as well as the Sri Lanka. So the eastern coast of India, the southern part and the eastern part of India, and the Sri Lanka, it was completely devastated. It was completely destroyed or destructed. Many people had lost their life. Many people lost their family. Many people lost their property, and it was a great destruction. The waves caused erosion along the headlands and create beaches in the protected location in the bays. Now the waves cause erosion along the headland. Headland is the land which is there near the sea coast. Okay, so they are causing the erosion because the water is coming forward and it is going behind, so thus it caused the erosion, taking away of the soil, and create the beaches in the protected location in the bays. Okay, so with this we have completed with the lesson. There are some points which you have to remember. Let's see about it. If earthquake occurs in the ocean, the coastal areas face a risk of tsunamis. Already I had explained you all, when the earthquake occurs in the ocean, the coastal areas face the risk of tsunami. In such cases, it is better to go away from the coast or towards higher altitudes. This way, loss of life can be avoided. So in this situation, when there is a tsunami, so in that situation, now property, our house we cannot carry along with us, but at least we can save our life. So in such case, what is good, that when we come to know that something is going to happen, there is anything which is going to happen, if we come to know about this from the weather forecast department, we should try and see that how we will be able to protect ourselves, and thus for that reason we have to go somewhere on the place which is at the higher altitude, some mountainous area, so that even if the water is coming in our area or if it gets flooded, we are protected because we are on the mountainous area. And later on, when the water recede, when the water goes down completely, the water is gone away, so we can come back to our place. So accordingly, we can at least avoid the loss of life and we can protect ourselves. Now here they had given, do you know, I will just read this. While moving along the sea coast or playing in the water, we must take adequate care. We should be very much careful when we are moving near the sea coast, or if we are playing in the sea water, regarding the times of the tides, otherwise it can lead to a serious accident. So when I was explaining in the previous video, I had explained you all many a times people don't know when there is high tide, when there is low tide, and people go and they start swimming in the water of the sea, and all of a sudden after some times the water level starts increasing. When there is a low tide, the water level is low, but if there is a high tide, so after some times when there is a high tide, so the water level starts increasing and people don't know about it. People are nicely enjoying playing in that water. Sorry, people are nicely enjoying and playing in the water, and then there are serious accidents which takes place. Many a times people lose their life. They don't know swimming, and because of which they are not able to come out of the water, and thus there is a problem, or they have to face serious accidents. For that we must know the timing of the tide. For this you must know the phase of the moon on the given day. 3/4 of the phase of the moon is the time of the high tide. For example, suppose you are at coast on the 4th phase of the moon, then 3/4 of the phase is 3. It means the high tide will occur at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. and approximately 6 hours from it, that is 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. will be the low tide. So when we have to go to the seashore, especially the swimmers, or even if we have to go for a picnic and we want to play in the water, we should know when the high tide is going to take place, when the low tide is going to take place. Even if you don't know about this, you can, nowadays you all have mobile, so in mobile also you can search when will be a high tide, when will be a low tide, or even in the calendars also it is given the approximate timing of the high tide and the low tide. So accordingly we can read that, we can go through it, and thus we can take care of ourselves. There may be slight difference according to the local conditions. So yes, as I said, there can be slight difference here and there, maybe 5-10 minutes here and there, or maybe half an hour here and there, but at least we will know the approximate time, that okay, now this is the time when there is going to be a high tide, the level of the water is going to increase, so I should be out of the water, or I should be at the safer place. So at least we will know that. We must collect the information from the local people and learn from them about the structure of the coast, its slope, rocky areas, as well as the streams near the coast before entering the sea water for enjoyment. If we are visiting any new place, any new seashore, and we don't know about that, so in that case we should talk to the local people, the people who are living there. We should talk to them, we should ask them what type of seashore it is, whether it is very deep, whether it is shallow, if there are any rocky islands in the between of the water, or whether there are any streams or anything which is dangerous. So when we will talk to the people, we will come to know that if there is any danger, so accordingly if we are aware of that, we can take care of ourselves as well as our family members. So thus we have to keep this thing properly in our mind. So with this we have completed with the lesson tides. I hope you have understood the explanation of tides, how the tides are occurring, what are the types of tides we have studied. They are nip tide and spring tide. Then we have also studied about what are the advantages of tides, or what happens due to tides. Then we have also studied about the waves, how the waves are generated, what is the structure of the waves. All these things we have studied in this lesson, and I hope you all have understood the lesson very well. Thank you, children.